looking at London, and I was like, hey, it doesn't look so great right now. That was 6 months ago. And I've been here working remotely, virtually since then. So it is an honor to be able to still be connecting with people around the world. This I am calling the digital campfire. This is what this is. This is the digital campfire that you have joined right now. Just to give you a heads up, I am using a power generator and an internet system which we have to use and pray stays constant and consistent at the same time. So please bear with us, and if you hear any lagging or you want me to repeat anything, just send a little message and I will be more than happy to do that. I love the way I can't see names. I think it's Cynthia. Cynthia, you look well comfortable. Enough love. I'm loving it. I know everybody else is thinking the same thing. You know what, Sylvia? Everybody wants to do what you're doing right now, but everybody's trying to look all prim and proper. You know how to do this properly. You're like, I'm gonna lie down. Tell me a story. So a little bit, I don't know who that is laughing, but yeah, I'm glad that person is feeling the energy. So a little bit about me. My parents are from Sierra Leone, West Africa, and when I was a child, I was born in UK, and then my mum shipped me back home to Sierra Leone, and I grew up around storytellers who were known as jellies. And the jellies are a long list of achievers. They are storytellers, they are poets, they are advisors, they are musicians, they are preachers, and their mission would be to travel around telling stories, sharing music to inspire people and remind them of who they are. And so when I go into schools, I tell young people they are the original MCs, master of ceremonies. They are the original creators of rap, rhythm, and poetry. And also, whilst they would be traveling, they would be going on tours. So when you see people touring around now, that's historical. They've been doing that for many, many, many years. So as you've been told, this session is called Ubuntu. Ubuntu. So, what would happen when the storytellers would arrive is they would say, story, story. And which is what I've actually called my company. I've called my company Story Story. And the reason why I called it Story Story, and it's, by the way, it's not Story Story. It is Story Story with the African accent. Right? So I want everybody to mouth it right now. Everybody just go story, story. Let me see. Let me see. Story, story. Let me see it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, cool, 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 cool. And I see you, Sugar. I see you. I see you. I see you. All right. So when I say story, story, I want everybody to just type story, and it's spelled Storie, Storie. So when I say story, story, you can have a voice and say story, or you can type and say story, story, story. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So, a long, 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 long time ago, there was a anthropologist, and he was conducting research, and he went to this village, and as he looked at the children playing, he came up with this idea. He wanted to do a competition. Ah, yes. And he gathered the children, gathered them around, and he said, I have a basket of sweets. Mhm. And this basket of sweets can be won by one of you. And the children was so happy. And what the man did, took the sweets, he carried over yonder to the tree, and
Hi there, everybody. This is Aidan from Migration Matters. So just to let you know that, as Alan mentioned at the beginning, he is in West Africa and there are some issues regarding electricity provision and the strength of his internet. We did do the checks of upload and download speed beforehand, and we also, on his side, he switched to generator electricity, which is more stable than state electricity. So we've taken as much precautions as we can, but when you do live theatre and live performances, things happen, and we'll just ask for a little bit of your patience while we try to sort this out. So please don't go anywhere. As you can see, it's a really exciting, really interesting performance, and I hope you'll bear with us while we try to sort this issue out. Thank you for your patience.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, you're back now.
You good? You good? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So now I've switched over to my phone. I'm using my phone internet right now. So yeah, okay. So what's I with the story? So the children were supposed to reset. The children were supposed to run, but they didn't run. Instead, what they did was they held hands and they decided to walk together. So the man is standing there confused. He's looking like, what are they doing? And the children all of a sudden start running, but they're running together. And then they get to the tree and they surround the tree and they all sit down together. And then the eldest child gets up and starts to take the sweets and distribute them to all the children sitting down, and they each waited patiently to receive a sweet. And of course, the man came storming. He's like confused, like, no. This is not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be whoever wins the race is supposed to get the sweets. And one of the children shouts out, Ubuntu. And I was like, what? Ubuntu. I am because you are. What sense does it make if I gain and I benefit from having the sweets, and yet everybody else around me doesn't get to share it with me? And that's what today's workshop is about. It's about us coming together in this testing time and these testing moments for us to say, hey, we need to be looking out for each other. We need to be holding hands, even after you've sanitized the hands. Yes, just make sure the hands are sanitized. Yeah, but we need to be coming together, looking out for each other. We need to be making those phone calls and checking in on each other. Like, is there somebody that you haven't spoken to in a while that you know you could pick up the phone and just check on and just say, hey, how you doing? It's been a long time since we've had a conversation. I just wanted to check in on you. So that is my opening story to let you know what today is all about. And on that note, I am now going to jump to my presentation. So you're going to see a little bit about story. And here, welcome. Okay, so as I said, my name is Alim Kumara and my company is called Story. I've had the opportunity to travel around the world, from London, Sierra Leone, to Peru, to Gambia, Argentina, Uruguay, Canada. Now, people tend to forget my name because it's not the easiest name to remember. So I came up with this really cool way to get people to remember my name. And if you look carefully, you will see it is a rhyme. Yeah, so Alim Kamara sounds like I'm leaning on a camera. Yeah, so when I say Alim Kamara, you say in your head, I'm leaning on a camera. Alim Kamara, I'm leaning on a camera. Alim Kamara, I'm leaning on a camera. But also, you might even forget that. So now I'm going to add another image to your head. But this image, this time, you need to picture yourself leaning on the camera. So you picture a camera in front of you, and then all of a sudden, you do this move here. I'm leaning on the camera. So when I say Alim Kamara, you picture yourself leaning on the camera. So Alim Kamara, I'm leaning on the camera. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, cool. So my team and I, we do performances, workshops for education and corporate organizations. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of really cool traveling as a storyteller. And here I am. So the question is today, I have now introduced myself. And I want to ask you, is it okay for me to continue this journey with you of storytelling? I need to get some interaction from you now. I need to see some typing of some yeses, or you can vocally said a yes. See, I'm making sure that you're interacting with me here. So if you're in the kitchen, you're going to hear me be like, you need to come back. You need to come back. You'll be like running with your food. So I want to get some yeses if I have your permission to continue sharing more stories with you. All right, beautiful, beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I love you. Thank you. How do you pronounce your name? Is it Sugra?
Yes, Sugra.
Sugra. Thank you, Sugra. Mwah. Love you. All right, cool. So, does anybody know this man?
Yes, Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King.
Ooh, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Come on now. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we all know. Now, one of the things Dr. Martin Luther King is famous for, what was it? Something he's famous for. What was the speech? What was the speech he's famous for? Anybody?
I have a dream.
Oh, thank you very much, Sugura. Thank you very much. The I have a dream speech. Now, does anybody know this lady? Anybody know this lady?
Is it Rosa Parks? I'm not sure.
No. So her name is Mahalia Jackson. Mahalia Jackson is said to be the queen of gospel. And what used to happen is she would sing before Dr. Martin Luther King would deliver his speech. So she was the one who would warm up the crowd, bring the spirit in the place, and get the people amped up to receive what Dr. Martin Luther King was going to deliver. Well, one day, Dr. Martin Luther King was in a room rehearsing for a speech that he would deliver in Washington in front of 250,000 people. Yes, you heard me right. 200 and how many? 50,000 people. And so he was making sure that this speech had to be on point. And so there he was going over his lines. And then he was talking to himself, and he mentioned something about a dream. And Mahalia Jackson was standing in the corner. Sorry, Sugra, I think we can hear you. If you could mute. Thank you. All right, cool. So Mahalia Jackson was in the corner, and she was listening, and she heard the part about the dream, and she was like, oh, I cannot wait to hear this part that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is going to speak about the dream. But then it said that at some point she had to leave. And when she left, it was decided that the part about the dream was too wishy-washy. It was too dreamy and needed to be taken out. And so it was removed from the speech. Now, on the day that Dr. Martin Luther King had to deliver his speech in front of 250,000 people in Washington, D.C., there he was reading his speech. Now, because Mahalia Jackson had been around Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. so much, she recognized when he was coming to the end of his speech. And guess what? He hadn't said anything about a dream. Nothing at all. And she was thinking, you better say something about the dream. Hey, but Dr. Martin Luther King kept on going. And when she realized that he wasn't going to say anything, she stood up. And she shouted at Dr. Martin Luther King. Remember, this is in front of 250,000 people. She didn't care. You know, mums are like that. They don't give a damn. If you don't do what you've been told, I will tell you. It doesn't matter who's around. And so she stood up and she said, tell them about the dream, Martin. Tell them about the dream. And people who were standing around said that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. stopped and he pushed aside the speech that he had been preparing. And people behind him said that his shoulders went up. And all of a sudden, he echoed the words, I have a dream. So if you go back and look at the original speech, you will see that there's a speech before the part about the I have a dream. There's another part in the speech. But it took for Mahalia Jackson to get up and say to him and give him some words of encouragement and say, yo, I need you to be you. I need you to move this crowd the way you moved me in that room. And if you look here, you can actually see Mahalia Jackson there. You see the look she's giving him. Can you see the look she's giving him? Motherly look like, you better say something about that dream. And so that's how today we have the I have a dream speech. So can we get a round of applause for Mahalia Jackson? Yeah, we know about Dr. Martin Luther King, but we got to show love to Mahalia Jackson for recognizing his greatness and encouraging him to be great. And this is what I love about Migration Matters Festival. Yeah, it's the largest Refugee Week festival in the UK. It is a pay what you feel arts festival that celebrates the positive impact migration and refugee have had on Sheffield and in the UK. Now, tell me if that is not, when we're speaking about migration, come on now. Do you know what I mean? These were people who were looking for where they fit in society. So to be celebrating that today, I feel honored, I feel humbled, and I'm thankful to be part of it. Now to have people here with me just makes it even more beautiful. So give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. You know, for we celebrating together. Come on now. I see you. All right, cool. So why do I tell stories? Stories can increase empathy, reduce prejudice and loneliness, and be very persuasive. So we tell our stories in order for us to be able to empathize with others, to be able to learn about other people. Are you ready for the next story? Are you ready for the next story? Are you ready for the next? When I say story, you type story or you shout story. Story. Yeah, I love it. Okay, cool. All right. I see you. Okay, so this story that I'm about to tell you right now, I don't know if you're ready for this story, but I think you are. How many of you have been feeling down lately? How many of you have been feeling down, or you've had a time in this year where you've been like, man, I've been knocked down. I don't know how I'm going to get up. All right. Well, this story right now that I'm about to deliver, I hope you are ready for. Okay. So, once upon a time, many years ago, there was an old donkey. And there the donkey was, minding his own business, when all of a sudden, donkey saw snake coming from the other side of the field. And snake was moving fast. Kitty-kata. And as snake was moving, donkey, with his old age, opened his eye and saw snake and said, snake wants to bite me. You see, snake had opened up its mouth and was ready to go. But donkey misunderstood. See, really and truly, snake didn't want to bite donkey. See, snake was coming from the dentist. Yes, I know what you're thinking. How is that possible? Well, listen, in the world of storytelling, anything is possible. Snake was coming from the dentist, and snake just wanted to show off his beautiful teeth to donkey. But donkey misunderstood and as a result, turned around, scared, panicky, and tried to run. And as he tried to run, he buckled, fell into a deep, deep, deep well. And of course, Donkey was hurt at the bottom of the well, and Donkey was crying out, "Ee-haw, ee-haw, ee-haw, ee-haw," which obviously means help me, help me, help me, help me. I'm in pain, I'm in pain. Just for those of you who don't speak Donkey, it's all right. I'll be your translator. I've got you. And so Snake came along. Snake was like, there's no way that I'm staying here. No chance. Possibility is zero. I am out. And off Snake went, because Snake knew that soon a man would turn up, with most likely with a stick. Donkey kept on making noise. Donkey was scared. Donkey was there, and as Donkey was making noise, the owner of Donkey heard Donkey making noise, got up, went to open it. Hey, Donkey, can you shut? Where's my donkey? And all of a sudden, she followed the sound to the deep, deep, deep well, and looked inside the well and could see a speck of Donkey inside the deep, deep, deep well. And of course, she started to think, how am I going to save my donkey? Now I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, let her throw a rope in there. No. She wasn't going to do that. I know what you're thinking. Some of you are thinking, let her throw a ladder in there. No. She wasn't going to do that. You see, the reason why she wasn't going to do that is because where I come from, there are stories, scary stories about spirits and jinns and other things inside wells. So people dare not venture to go in there. And so she's there scratching her head thinking, well, how am I going to save this donkey? And over time, she decided, you know what? This well is dried up. It's not being used anymore. The donkey is old and is probably going to die soon. So I might as well just bury the donkey in the well. I know. And with that thought, she then went to her neighbors and she knocked on their doors and she explained to them what had happened. And they had also heard the stories about the spirits and the jinns inside the wells. And so they would not venture into the wells either. And so they asked, well, what do you want us to do? And she said to them, grab your shovels. And so, reluctantly, they grabbed their shovels and they made their way to that deep, deep, deep well. And then they surrounded the deep, deep, deep well. And as the donkey was at the bottom of the well, wondering what was happening, the donkey felt something on its back. And all of a sudden, the people were digging the dirt and throwing it in the well. They were digging the dirt and throwing it in the well. They were digging the dirt and throwing it in the well. Well, as they kept on doing this over time, the donkey realized what was happening. And so the donkey started to panic. And because the donkey is thinking, don't bury me, please. Please don't bury me. But the people, they weren't like me. They couldn't understand donkey. And so they kept on digging the dirt and throwing it in the well. They kept on digging the dirt and throwing it in the well until it got quiet. And even though the woman didn't want to, she went to look to make sure. And when she looked, she couldn't believe what she saw. The donkey was alive. Yes, the donkey was alive. Now, if you haven't heard this story before, you're thinking, how did the donkey survive? How? But how did the donkey survive? If you want to know how the donkey survived, put yes. And if you know how the donkey survived, do not put it in the chat, because then you will just ruin the story. So please, if you want to know how the donkey survived, in the chat, I want you to put yes. Or if you want to put on your mic and scream yes, whichever it is, I am waiting. If you want to know how the donkey survived. So, see,
Yes.
Kay, I like you. You're like, I think I know. Good, beautiful, aha, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I am now going to tell you how the donkey survived. You see, the donkey soon realized that panicking was not going to help. So the donkey had to stop and think. Ooh. When you're in panic mode and somebody says to you, stop and think, you just want to hey, get out. This is not time to stop and think. But the donkey realized, panicking isn't going to help. And so the donkey had to stop and think. No, you didn't hear me. See, some of you heard me, but you weren't listening. There's a difference, between hearing and listening. Now, I want you to, the donkey had to stop and think. Oh my goodness. Let that sink in. The donkey had to what? Stop and think. And the moment the donkey stopped and started thinking, the donkey recalled meeting a storyteller, a jelly, who had taught the donkey, it's okay to be scared. Just don't let it keep you down. If you do fall, bruh, get back up. Did you hear what I said? It's okay. You get to, don't be scared. No. It's okay to be scared. Just don't let it keep you down. If you do fall, bruh, get back up. Come on now. And so, when that happened, the donkey came up with an idea of what to do. Each time the people were digging the dirt and throwing it in the well, digging the dirt and throwing it in the well, digging the dirt and throwing it in the well, as it landed on the donkey's back, the donkey would shake it off and step up. What? Are you listening to me? Did you hear what I just said? No. Listen to me what I just said. The dirt was supposed to bury the donkey. Oh man, you're not hearing me. You're hearing me, but you ain't listening. I don't know if you're listening. I don't know if you're getting this. The dirt was supposed to bury the donkey. The situation, and the dirt was being thrown on. But here's the thing though, it doesn't stop there. See, whilst the dirt was being thrown on the donkey, sometimes there were old rusty nails inside the dirt. And as it traveled in the deep well and landed on the donkey's back, it hurt. It hurts. But the donkey was determined. And so the donkey would shake it off and step up. Shake it off and step up. Come on. Sometimes when they threw dirt, there were pieces of broken glass inside the dirt and they would land on the donkey's back. But the donkey wanted to persevere. And so the donkey, even though it now had cuts, the donkey would shake it off and step up. Oh man, did you know what you came for today? Did you know what you came for today? The donkey would what? Shake it off and step up. Sometimes when they threw dirt, there were pieces of rock inside the dirt and they would land on the donkey's back. They would hit the donkey hard and the donkey would be in pain. The donkey even cried, but the donkey was now saying, I want out. And so the donkey would shake it off and what? Step up. And when the owner of the donkey saw this, guess what she said? She saw the donkey's wisdom and told the people, throw more dirt. Did you hear what she realized what the donkey was doing. She said, throw more dirt. And as they threw more dirt, this time aiming to obviously avoid the donkey, as they threw the dirt, the donkey would use the dirt as a way to climb up each and every single time until the dirt was at the top. And where was the donkey? Standing on top of the dirt. You're hearing me, but are you listening? Oh, you're hearing me, but are you listening? The dirt was supposed to bury the donkey, but instead the donkey used it as a way to rise. Whew. So now I want you now. I'm handing over to you now. I'm handing over to you now. Yes, that's right, Kay. You were right. You were right. I see you, Kay. Now I'm handing over to you now. Beautiful people of Migration Festival, Migration Matters. What did you learn from that story? Can you relate to that story in any way, form, or fashion, especially within the last year or so? Never give up. What lessons have you learned from that story? Talk to me, beautiful people. Talk to me. You know, when we're storytelling, it's not a one-way thing. It's a two-way. We're all storytelling together right now. Because if you're not here, I'm talking to myself. So you're actually storytelling with me right now. We're going on a journey. So I've got here, donkey is a true warrior. Come on, that's what I'm talking about, okay? So we've got never give up. Rosemary, thank you. We've got have faith. Ooh, okay. Victoria, I see you, Victoria. We can use the challenges we encounter to make us stronger. Come on, come on, come on. Say it again. Belief in one's self. Belief in oneself. Come on, Rosemary. You're not playing. You're not playing. Strive for more. Don't sit there waiting. Don't sit there waiting. Strive for more. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Perseverance is key. Perseverance is key. Using every okay, Kay. Okay, you're just showing off now. Kay, I see you. I see you. You're good. You're good, Kay. Okay. Wait. Kay's like using every resource we have to level up. Come on now. Rosemary, be encouraged. Cheese and bread. Antoinette, I see you. I see you. So, now, there are a few things that I just kind of want to go over that I used in that story. Okay. Somebody's bringing in that Ubuntu now. Somebody's bringing in that Ubuntu. Work as a team. I see you. I see you, Sugura. I see you. I see you. Okay. Do not take counsel of your fears. Oh my gosh. Do not take. Let me go back to the beginning of the story. In the beginning of the story, did snake want to bite donkey? No. But donkey had the perception, oh my gosh, snake wants to bite me, didn't have a fact, but panicked anyway. And as a result, how many of you have ever been walking and people are talking and you think they are talking about you? You don't have no facts, but you think that they're talking about you. But not only that, you assume that they're saying something negative about you. And it affects you, right? It affects your emotion. It affects your performance. You might even twist your face. And what are you talking about? But guess what? They could be saying, you are beautiful. You are powerful. You are awesome. Imagine if that was the message we did, whatever, regardless of what's going on, that was the message we interpreted in our head. Are you with me? Are you Migration? Are you not still with me? Are you still with me? Please tell me. Are you with me? Are you with me? Oh, I'm good. Okay, cool. Okay, so next up, I want to ask here for the first time, is anybody here got a short story that they could share with us. A very short story. I've never done this before. If you don't, I am going to go into my next story. If you don't, I'm ready to go, always ready to go. But today, because I've always been on, I've been to certain platforms and I've always wondered, I wonder if there might be an opportunity for me to step out of my comfort zone and do something different. So now I'm giving you the opportunity. Is there anybody here? Ooh, come on, tell me a story. Pass something on to me that I can go and take on to share with the world. Okay, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself and share with us a story as I take my seat.
Hello, hi everyone. I'm Sugar Begum from Sheffield, England. So I'm very much in touch with Migration Matters, and the festival is going very well so far. My story is about the girl who got wings. So the first time I saw an aeroplane, I fell in love with this object. 2 great wings, 2 big roaring engines. And when I climbed up the stairs, it was like another world, and imagine a world where you got everything. You got entertainment, you got food served to you. And for the journey, you didn't have to do anything but sit back, relax, enjoy, talk. And before you knew it, we landed in a country of my dreams. The first time I saw my father at the airport, he was dressed like an English gentleman, a long trench coat, a hat. And I could not believe it. I said to my mother, "Is this our father? He doesn't look like the people we've just left behind." And she said, "Yes, this is your father. Believe me." But I hadn't seen my father. I hadn't seen my father since I was born. I think hello?
Oh dear, keep going, Sugru. We're loving that story. Keep going. I'm sure it's just a tech issue or something.
Okay,
keep going.
are you sure?
I'm really enjoying the story.
Are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Keep going. I'm sure it's just a tech issue. He'll be back in a second. There we go.
And the object that I'd fall in love with, I didn't realize that 20, 30 years later, the love and the passion was to be able to fly. So I started learning to fly in a Cessna 150, and I continued on that journey until I did some solo flying, and the girl got wings. The girl was in a dream. The girl lived the dream. I am, and I have wings. The end.
I missed it. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Hi. So do you do storytelling?
I do. Yes.
All
I
right.
do storytelling. I haven't done so, but I'm more of a performance poet.
Okay.
Yes.
Beautiful.
So yeah, I am taking part on Sunday. I'm presenting some poetry on Sunday. And but I've always loved to share stories, poetry, all sorts of creative writing. I've taught creative writing in my work as a lecturer. I loved your story, by the way. Fantastic. Very engaging.
Thank you very, 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 very,
thank you
very
for the
much.
Opportunity.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. It's an honor. So I have one more story that I would like to share with you today. A bit more of a calmer story. As you can see, I can channel and turn up my energy, but I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. When I say story, I want you to say story. Story, story. By the way, just to explain, when it comes to me saying story, story, I am asking, are you ready? Do I have your attention, your undivided attention? Are you with me? And when you say story, you are essentially saying, yes, I am. I am ready to listen. I am ready to spark my imagination. I am ready to participate. I am ready to receive something that I can share with the world. So, okay, Victoria, thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, take care, take care. All right, so, story, story. It is now time for our final story of the Ubuntu storytelling time. There was once a king, and this king had everything. Woo! This king had a big palace. This king had chariots. This king had golden chariots. This king had a fearful army. The king himself was feared. But this king didn't have an heir. This king didn't have a child. And this affected the king and queen greatly. And so, word was sent out that a reward would be given to the person who could help the royal family with a child. And so you know the best messenger, right? Although the horses rode out, the king's men rode out, the king's women rode out, you know who the best messenger is? The wind. Mhm. And the wind carried the message, and the message met people from all different areas, and people came and tried to help. And let's just say that they didn't survive. I'm sure you can work out what happened when they couldn't help the king and queen. I told you already, the king didn't have time to mess around. But the wind carried this message until it met an old woman. And this old woman came forth and said, King, I know how to make it possible for you to have a child. And there was something about this lady that made the king listen. And the king said, what do I need to do? And the lady said, it's easy. Said, look outside right now. She said, the water system is dirty. There's no difference between the clean water, the dirty water. And so many people are falling ill. Many people are dying. All you need to do is get your army to dig some canals so that the water for waste goes one way and the clean water comes another. And the king said, what? Is that it? That's all I have to do? And she said, that's all you have to do. And he was like, done. And the king's men, they went digging. And they dug. And all of a sudden, as time went on, you began to see less people were getting ill. Less people were dying because of the now fresh water system that the king had now made possible. But as time went on, the wife still didn't have a child. And so the king, he sent for the old woman, and they brought the old woman. She said, king, hey, you haven't finished what you need to do yet. And the king said, what, there's more? She said, yes. He said, well, what do I need to do? He said, well, what you need to do is share pieces of land with the people. My land. You want me to give my land? No. What, my land? It's my land. Why should I give it to anybody? It belongs to me. The woman said, you want a child? He said, of course I want a child. But my land, When the wife gave him the look, the queen gave him the look, you better give that land, otherwise you'll find yourself out in the streets. The king agreed to give tiny plots of land to people around. And so these people were now able to grow food. And when visitors came, they were also able to feed the visitors. But as the months went on, no child. Well, now the king was livid, and he sent for the woman, and he said, come, 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 come. You now, today, you will die. That's it. They already had the lynching thing ready. They were going to kill her. And she said, ha, there's one more. One more. That's what you said last time. He said, no, this time, if you do this, that's it. This is all you need to do. And he said, well, what do I need to do? And she said, King, for years, we have watched as you have fought wars with the neighboring countries, villages, towns. And the people who are fighting hardly get to see their families. She said, make peace, put lasting treaties so that people can come home, armies can come home and be with their families. Let there be peace. And the king said, but my army, nobody's been able to test us. Nobody's been able to mess with us for how many years? She said, you want a child? Yeah, I do want a child. And so the king saw to it that lasting treaties went out. And the children were able to cross borders, play by the borders. They were suddenly able to learn other people's cultures and other languages and learn about each other where they hadn't done before. They discovered that there were beautiful things about each other's cultures instead of being taught that they were supposed to hate their neighbors. And still, as the months went on, there was no child. And now the king picked up the sword himself when he summoned for this old woman. And he didn't even want to hear what she said. He took her by the window and put the knife and he put it down by her. Any last words? And she said, King, look outside. And the king reluctantly looked outside. He said, yeah, what? He said, look at your land. She said, just like your wife, this land was barren, with poor health, with war and destruction and poverty. But now, as a result of your generosity and your kindness, the children can play. The people can grow food and look after themselves. The army men can come and work and be with their family. And the king realized what had happened. And the woman said, and guess what? These are your children. For years, the children will speak your name because you are the father of the land. And they will continue to ensure that because of the changes, they were able to have differences in their lives. And your name will live on forever. The king shed a little tear, cried a little bit, cried just a little bit. He didn't want to show people, that he had a soft spot. Story. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Ubuntu, I am because you are. Ubuntu, I am because of who you are. I am because of you.
Wow.
So I hope that from the stories, you've been able to learn some really awesome stuff that you can tap into. Please feel free to share the stories, because that's what stories. These stories are supposed to be retold. Share, add what you want to add to it. Thank you all so much. I just want to ask if anybody had any questions that they want to ask. You're more than welcome to ask me any questions. I think we've got about 5 minutes. Anybody want to ask any questions, make any comments, just let me know. It has been an honor. Thank you, Amy. It's been an honor to transport with you. Yes. Sugra.
Yeah. Alim, how did you get into storytelling?
So when I was a child, storytelling and comics were the only thing that could keep me still for a long period of time. And when I came back to the UK, there were no more storytellers, but I found hip hop. So I started rapping. And then I would go to poetry events and want to rap, but they wouldn't have the greatest equipment. So then I would deliver my rap without the music. And then people would be like, "Hey, you're that poet," and I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. I'm not a poet. I'm a rapper. I'm you know." And then when I went to university in the last year, my tutor Maggie Butt, who's also a poet, she suggested that I do a storytelling module, and I never knew such a thing existed. And my teacher happened to be Sally Plum Clayton, who I never knew at the time was this amazing, world-renowned storyteller. And she challenged us to do a story from our culture, our tradition. And I chose Brass Spider, who's also known as Anansi the spider.
Yeah.
And I remember coming in and I dressed up in a cloth looking like a Ghanaian prince. And I used a broomstick as a staff. And this is before I got my own staff made. And the response from people was just amazing. And all of a sudden, I started to remember what had happened in my childhood when I listened to stories, and that had been kept quiet. And all of a sudden, it all came out. And I had these 2 stories that I told for like about a year. And then I just started getting booked, and I was like, I think I need more stories now. And so that's how I developed to become a storyteller.
Yeah.
Anybody,
Excellent,
you
lovely.
get. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. So that's my time. I'm now going to hand over to your moderator, who's now going to come in and bid you farewell. Thank you all so much. Please follow me on the socials at Alim Kamara. Connect, send me a message so I can follow you back as well. Take care. Remember, Ubuntu, Ubuntu, Ubuntu. Peace out.
Yeah.
Love.
Just before you get off, Adam, I just want to say thank you so much from the whole Migration Matters team. That was an absolutely fantastic session. I'd encourage everybody to follow Adam on social media. He's just put out his Instagram. You just, can only help to follow and support the career of an amazing young artist. So thank you very much for joining. I'm sure everyone else enjoyed. And God bless everybody.
God bless. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Right. So I'll just end the meeting now, if I can.
Alrighty then.
All right.